So, the No Jumper live stream finally happened last night, and it went about how you could really expect it to go from the trajectory of things. I'll be honest with you, it started off promising. Um, Housephone came on and seemed to be getting all of the vitriol off of his chest towards Adam, letting him know exactly what he thinks and feels about the posting of the podcast in which he was exposed and everything that has transpired since then. For those of you who don't know, it even came to a boiling point when Adam 22 brings up paying for Housephone's mother's funeral, and Housephone then throws a drink at him and threatens to fight him. Well, not really ever threatening to fight him. Basically, he wanted to do something dramatic, but they were not that far apart from each other. He was really trying to get, to him, even with his bum leg. I'm sure he would have been able to do it a lot. He would have readily been able to do it, is all I'm saying. So, they have the altercation where the drink gets thrown and he talks about how he'll beat him up 7 different ways. We get about 40 minutes of interruption as the pod comes to a close. And then lo and behold, they come back on the podcast smiling and laughing as if I won't say as if nothing ever happened, but literally like that was all that it was supposed to be. And I'll say it like this. Maybe that was all that it's supposed to be. Maybe this is one of those situations where you don't get between two friends because, they're gonna, when they're beefing, you might try and pick a side and then they'll be back cool and be like, oh, well, but you was fake for doing such and such and so on. Well, we're just the fans of No Jumper, so they can't accuse us of being their friends or being fake or something like that for picking a side in this. But there was something very important that happened during the course of that podcast. One, it was the first time that I feel like Adam 22 has had to uncomfortably sit in his criticisms being provided by other people. Whether he thinks they're accurate or whether they are accurate or not. And he doesn't do too well with that. He kept using a phrase of, you really think that? You really think that you really think that? And personally, it was honestly very, it was annoying to me to hear somebody keep saying that. Like if it was you and me in a conversation and I was telling you about how things were making me feel, and after everything that I said, you said, you really think that would really irk me. The guy has absolutely no accountability, and he is media trained in the way that he will never publicly admit things from his mouth, almost to the point of delusion where it's seemingly obvious. But the most important thing that came out of all of that was Housephone alluding to the allegations that are against Adam 22 and his involvement in intimacy with underage women. They basically said in so many words that he was hooking up with 15 and 16-year-olds while he was on the road with Lil Pump. Lil Pump, if you know anything about Lil Pump's audience from when he was popular, it makes sense. They were all around that same age as meaning he was famous as a teenager, essentially. So it makes sense that his audience would be teenagers. And it makes sense that if you're his manager and you're on tour with him and you're getting all these groupies and stuff like that, that you have access to do things. Now, I'm not saying you should make that choice, but what I'm saying is this was the biggest exposure of something that had been like an underlying secret for a long time. Or people, I'm not going to say it's a secret like we all knew it was happening. I honestly just recently heard about that because I never really liked Adam 22 enough to even try and do any background search. I thought he was a bad person generally. But he definitely constructed an amazing content machine with No Jumper, especially when it was running at its finest. I'm not going to lie. I don't take that away from people just because I don't like them. It was entertainment. And I primarily came, honestly, for Housephone for a long time. Pause, but like, oh, yeah, pause. Nobody ever clip that, please. But, I was watching the show because of Housephone for a long time. But yo, I mean, after seeing that, it's not just what Housephone said. It's Housephone coming out with those accusations against Adam 22 nonchalantly as like a threat, like a carrot, like a dang, like, you don't want to get into talking about that. Adam 22's eyes. I want you to look at Adam 22's eyes when Housephone starts talking about that. His eyes and his facial expression are crazy. But I'm not a body language expert, and I think that that's a pseudoscience. Anyways, I'm saying all this to say that they said that it was super awkward for a minute, and then before the stream was even interrupted, like the drink getting thrown, everybody in that room had that look of like, and then they just went right back to it, right past that. Like that was just like, oh yeah, we're not gonna talk about that, and so on and kept moving on and stuff like that. Like they actually didn't talk about it. They come back from the they come back from the break, and everybody is just smiles. Man, yeah, I'm glad we got that out the way, this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. Like they piecing it up after like a friendly fade or something like that. And if that's what that was between them, I have no criticism of that. Like between boys, right? But that was your employer, that's your boss that did this to you. It really should not have gone that way from a professional standpoint. I really don't even think from a friendship standpoint that it can go that way, but I can't tell Housephone who his friends are and who they should be. But one thing I can say is that I saw Ace Girl Cheeks, which is Housephone's girlfriend and part of the Ace Boys podcast with a pun in them, which is like a shoot off of the community. This universe is getting deeper and deeper every day. But basically, Ace Girl Cheeks, who is dating Housephone, she really went out on a limb when all this happened that, 2 weeks ago it's been now, and kind of called out and alluded to this stuff, this information that Housephone had on Adam 22. And I don't know why, I don't know why she would let a man tell her that he knew these things about another man, but he's keeping it a secret and she was okay with that. That's my biggest thing about this. How many people knew about what was happening, knew it was confirmed, and was cool with just keeping it on the low and stuff like that because their paycheck said so? That's not okay. I'm gonna let you know right now. After last night, I unsubscribed from No Jumper because I'm not trying to play that. There's way too many people bootlegging y'all clips. Any dramatic event that happens there that is intention worthy will be put out on No Jumper clips with the A, not the ER, because we all know about that ER. No, I'm just playing. But anyways, and I just don't even want to give a single amount of my time or energy towards benefiting them content-wise. I'll talk about it because the views are coming to me and stuff like that, and I'm not even trying to vulture on it where I make every single dollar off of the Housephone situation. I hope that you understand that because I've made this is like my fourth video I've made on the situation as I followed the story as it progressed, but this has been ultimately disappointing to me. I'm a person who I felt like I kind of grew with the No Jumper platform, and where it has gone is just the trash. It's in the it's gross. And to see that everybody knew, or at least had a very good understanding about these accusations for Adam 22 having some sort of truth to it, whatever that may be, and going on nonchalantly about their day for that check is disheartening. Just disheartening. So for anybody who didn't catch the madness, I'm sure you can, watch the double streams on No Jumper. And it's funny how they wanted to get them No Jumper clips out before anybody else did. You could tell that No Jumper, clips started posting those videos about Adam 22 gets fighting, throwing drink down, right? As soon, because they knew they had to combat all the channels. And I hope that you notice, I did go live and express my utter shock after the situation, but I wasn't a person who was running oh my God, Adam 22 assaulted by Housephone and stuff like that. I knew I was going to eventually talk about it, and I know that you people will come to watch me talk about it because you have every other time, and yeah, man, this, I would say we're gonna see how this develops, but like I am checked out, man. So if any type of crazy news comes out of that camp there, I'll definitely be reporting that. But I am no longer a supporter of No Jumper. How could I be after that information that came out? If I continue to support No Jumper after that, it would be no different than them continuing to support No Jumper after that, except for the fact that it's their place of employment. So maybe they have a little bit more incentive to do so, but I can't rock with that. And for Housephone's girl to go as hard as she did against Adam 22, harder, honestly, than Housephone did, I would not wish anything negative on anybody's relationships, but I'm just saying, bro, I would never want my daughter to be with a man who is less willing to defend himself than she is. I mean, no matter how bad she feels for him or how in love they are, like there are just more things than that in life. Because how can a man who's not even afraid to who's not even, strong enough to verbally stand up for himself, how's he going to physically protect you from all of the things that go on in the world, especially in this day and age? It's just something to think about, man. Once again, I'm disappointed, but good morning to all of y'all.